is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead, Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. And there is no one greater to have a guest from Glenda Dawson High School themselves, Mr. Chancellor Johnson, Emmy Award winner, Channel 2 sports reporter. Let them know anything else I'm missing for you, Chancellor.
Now, you definitely did your homework going back to the Dawson days, but
Of course.
I'm from the city. Glad to be back in my city covering some of the hometown teams. It's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely happy to be here and happy to be happy to have some time to chat with you today.
You know, you've been you've done quite a few stuff in your short, I would say, career. We'll say career. Man, you interned at ESPN for a short time, man. And is that something that you were just, check it off the bucket, or is that something you're still pursuing, or are you content with what you're doing right now?
Yeah, obviously, I think we all kind of grew up as a sports fan on ESPN, and I was fortunate enough that when I was in college, I had an opportunity to intern there. That was the summer of my senior year. That was a great experience. Having the opportunity to be with the people that you see on TV, day in and day out, and make those connections and really get an opportunity to learn from really the best. And so, I have aspirations to always keep climbing in this business, but as I mentioned, this is home for me. Houston is hometown. That's the crib, man. So, maybe one day we'll have the opportunity to pursue stuff on a national and network scale. But I definitely love being right here in my home.
You could be like your counterpart DJ Bienemy over there, man, doing his ESPN thing. You have
absolutely
for sure. I'll be seeing him, man. Y'all two are great. Y'all two are a great duo, man. Go Sun Devils, by the way. I know you're Arizona State alumni.
Want to know the story.
Hey, yes, man. And it's funny that, you're a Glenda Dawson High School alum. Go Eagles. You're also an Eagle Scout. I mean, what else is there, man? What else that you got, man?
Yeah, I am an Eagle Scout, man. Yeah, you definitely did your research for sure. I definitely respect that. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my whole thing. I had to stop. I went to Arizona State, as you mentioned. Had to stop in Green Bay, covered the Packers, covered the Bucks while I was there, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so now in my free time, man, I just obviously cover the Houston teams and play a bunch of college football 25. That's kind of my whole deal.
Of course. I mean, you're just living life the right way, man. We're gonna go into the past before we get into some of the Texans, and not that we've already been there in your bio real quick, but you were just having a fun chop it up session, looking through nostalgia and hype and the highlights of, and this feels great to say, Hall of Famer Andre Johnson. That's still surreal to me. You got to sit down with him one-on-one. How much fun was that? And, you grew up here in Houston. I know you watch Andre. I saw you in the Blaze in Arizona State rocking the number 80 Andre Johnson jersey. That just got to feel good. It felt good because I know how I would react if I was there next to him. How was that feeling, man?
It was great to see number 80 get into the Hall, very well deserved, and having that opportunity to watch a guy who I grew up, watching reach the highest peak in the NFL was so great. And I used to kind of always joke when I was a kid. He's a Johnson. I used to make believe that we were cousins at the time just because we had to share the same last name. And so to have an opportunity to sit down with him and reflect on some of his greatest moments was an awesome opportunity. He shared plenty of stories. My favorite one, of course, for a lot of people, it's definitely the moment where he got into it with Cortland Finnegan, and having him really kind of dive into some of that backstory and kind of walk me through those moments that really are an iconic moment, not just within his career in the Texans history, but within the entire NFL. I thought that was really awesome. And for me going to that, I really just wanted to, showcase his personality. If you know anything about Dre, he's kind of a quiet guy, but to have him sit down and reflect on those moments right before he went and got his gold jacket, that really meant a lot to me, and it seemed like I got a great response. So I'm glad everything kind of worked out the way it was supposed to.
You interviewed what is one of the greats in the city of Houston. You're not no stranger to interviewing great people inside the city of Houston in terms of sports legends. You had a little interview with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, man. I mean, come on, man. This ain't fair. you're living life on easy mode. It feels like right now, man. What is?
Yeah,
How did you score that?
I wish it was as easy as it sounded. I think it helps. Obviously, I'm boots on the ground. Whether
Yeah.
it's Texans, whether it's Rockets, I cover a bunch of Cougars as well. And so part of my job is to make connections, to build relationships, and like whenever I am have an opportunity to chat with those guys, I definitely try to maximize those. So, as I mentioned with Andre, I can ask him about, hey, how great is it to go to the Hall of Fame, or I can get him to kind of break down his moments. Same thing with Akeem. If I get him, he doesn't really talk a ton, so I want to make sure that I maximize that time with him. And really, it's for I'm naturally a sports fan, and obviously being from Houston, I naturally grew up rooting for them. Now as a journalist, I definitely take a back seat on that. But I put myself in the shoes of, if I was a fan, what would I want to see? What would I want to hear from these guys? And so that's how I try to approach every story. I try to come with new information, something that you may have not heard before, whether it's a story or whatever the case might be. And so whether it's Hakeem, whether it's maybe sitting down with CJ or Andre, whatever the case might be, I'm always trying to bring the best content, and have those opportunities to tell those stories. It definitely means a lot to me.
I don't know if I can ask this question, but I'm going to anyway. What was the better interviewer, man? Andre Johnson or Akeem Olajuwon?
You know what? I'll definitely go with Dre, just because I had more time with him, and having
Yeah.
an opportunity to sit down with him and just really share some of those stories. A lot of stuff that I didn't even know about, right? Like whether it's going back to his walk off win in overtime with the Jaguars, where he broke that moment down, or how he rated his best catches. So I'm always looking for different ways to, as I mentioned earlier, to tell those stories. And Hakeem was great. I've gotten a chance to connect with him a few times, and but yeah, Dre also, to a little bit of recency bias there as well. That was over a month ago or so. So
Mhm.
looking for the next one though. Always it's what have you done for me lately type of industry. So I'm looking to score that next one.
You got Andre, you got Akeem. I mean, you got to go into the. I mean, we're going baseball now, right? I mean, you got to go into maybe some Altuve, something along them realms. Maybe a little Lance Berkman, maybe, or considering what rest in peace Wayne Graham, who had passed away from the Rice Owls. What a legend! 88 years old. My goodness, it's a good life, man. He coached a lot of greats at Rice University. Maybe there's a Lance Berkman opportunity for you there. You never know, man.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely had my time with the Rockets, with the Texans, and so I had to get some the Astros. I am aiming for Jose Altuve. It's another guy who doesn't talk a ton, but if I can get him
Mhm.
to open up, I think that would be awesome, and love to bring
I
that
mean,
for the
it's a
Houston
pretty good
Texans.
Mount Rushmore right there.
Yeah, I mean that's 3 of the 4, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that. I'm happy with that Mount Rushmore so far. Let's get into this, man. We got game week. It's Texans. It's Colts. It's feisty. Whether or not Jalen Petrie wants to admit that it's feisty or not, it's definitely feisty down here as a fan. Arguing with many Colts fans and Texans and Colts fans alike have been having at it this offseason. Talk is over. The game is Sunday. What are you excited about to see, man? This is your first time it's for real. You saw a lot in training camp, but now we actually get to see this happen. It's no longer on paper. It's no longer, discounted. This is for real. What are you most excited to see this year with the Houston Texans?
Yeah, the most anticipated season in franchise history officially kicks off this week, and it's against a longtime rival. Of course, the Houston and the Colts, Houston and Indianapolis. We all know they go way back. Once again, I'm from here, so I remember watching
Mhm.
Peyton Manning beat up on the Texans for years and years and years, and then when it wasn't him, Andrew Luck came along. I know it hurts your heart thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
Andrew Luck came along and had similar successes as Peyton Manning did. And now, now you have this new era between the Colts and the Texans. Two very talented young QBs. We know what CJ Stroud is capable of, and that he's coming off an historic rookie season. As far as the Colts QB with Anthony Richardson, also extremely talented, and in his first opportunity to play against the Texans, although it was only for about a half of a football game, he had some success against the Texans, and Houston didn't really have any answers at that time. Now, granted, this was week 2, it was still so early in the season, but actually even today, talking to CJ Stroud as he spoke to the media, he mentioned that week 2 game was kind of the turning point for them, and how they were able to develop some momentum. Even in a losing effort, they were able to figure some things out. And of course, they were able to go on to not only win the division, but win a playoff game as well. And winning in Indianapolis, the same place where they have to go this Sunday, it's going to be exciting. Everybody around the locker room is fired up to get this thing rolling. They want to put last year behind them. They are tired of talking about last year. It is on to 2024, and they're excited about what's possible with this team. They have the talent. They have the coaches in place. Now they have a tough schedule, so they have to go out there and prove it. Nothing is going to be given to them, and it is a tough division. Whether Houston fans might want to admit it online or not, Indianapolis is a team that is going to win some games. I expect them to be competing there at the end. I expect Jacksonville to be able to put some things together to challenge the Houston Texans. But I believe the Texans are in the driving seat. They're in the driver's seat, but once again, you have to go out there and you have to play every single week. And every single week, it'll be a tough opponent, and that starts this Sunday in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you mentioned C.J. Stroud at the podium. I'll mention the other team's guy, Zaire Franklin, on the podium. Not on the podium, but he was asked by media and reporters a message to the fans for Sunday. And I don't know if you've seen this yet, but it was a quick quote. It just all it was a lot has been said specifically about our city. I'm looking forward to Indy responding on Sunday. Just a quick, short quote. What's the immediate, just raw reaction to, if you want to let your inner fan out, I ain't got no problem with it. We here on the lead, we love the media people getting a little upset if the opposing team a little bit, puff their chest out. I ain't got no problem. I'm an Astros fan, man, and you an Astros fan too. We've been slugged a lot of heat our way. And you know what? We kind of puffed our chest. And we started, F this. We're going to be the bad guys. You want to paint us as villains? We're going to be villains. Zaire Franklin feels like he wants the Colts to be the villains. What is going on here, man?
Well, I'll say this. One thing about the Houston Texans and led by one of the 7 captains, and C.J. Stroud, they are not ducking any smoke. And C.J. Stroud's been at the forefront. You don't really see that. Look around the NFL, right? Look how many QBs, you talk about some of the stars in this league. Most of the time, they don't really talk a ton. C.J. Stroud, after his rookie season, he was puffing his chest out as well, and as he should. I like it. I enjoy it. I don't want my quarterback, at least that as I'm covering them, to be quiet or reserved. I like the back and forth. This is what sports is all about, so I have no problem with it. I think it was the other Colts linebacker who mentioned, hey, we got to go see those boys. Well, on Sunday, now they'll have an opportunity to do that. Once again, it's going to be a rowdy environment, whether the trash talk was there or not, because they're divisional opponents. But I like this, right? Like, when's the last time the Houston Texans were good enough to be considered to have a rivalry? It's been a real long time. I'm trying to think back, even in the Deshaun Watson days, or the he who should not be named, I guess I should say, on this podcast, like who was really the rivals, right? So now that the Colts are here, and the Texans are here, I enjoy that both fan bases and both teams are embracing that. Now, granted, it's only week 1. They'll have to see them later on in the season, and things will play itself out. But I have no problem with starting the season out with a little feistiness.
I love it, man. It's something that we haven't experienced as a Texans fan. It's always been, it's always been choir boy, very clean cut, suit and tie kind of appearance, whether it was the Kubiak days or hell, even the Bill O'Brien days, regardless of how many times Bill directed some comments to the media or fans. It was very clean cut, even keel kind of team, and, I think this is what I love about DeMeco Ryans and company. They just let them be who they are. And man, this is fun, especially for someone like, and in your position, you're like, hey, I love good soundbite. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Like, yeah, I love a good soundbite. I love to create more off of it. It's fun, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's even more fun when you're winning, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And so, for Texans fans, they had their off season to, as you kind of touched on, puff their chest out, because look, Texans, they went out there, they earned it, they won the division, they won a playoff game, even when I have no problem saying it, like I didn't think they would win the division, and who did, right? Like, they had rookie head coach, rookie QB. And if you did, shout out to you. But like they were working against history. We hadn't really seen it before.
Yeah.
If anything, it was more so the unknown, just because you didn't know what to expect in a rookie QB. You didn't know what to expect in D'Amico Ryans. You knew that they play hard, but that doesn't necessarily always translate to wins, especially not in year one. But they went out and earned it. But as I mentioned, if you talk to D'Amico, if you talk to anybody in the locker room, that was last year. Last year doesn't win you any games in 2024 because what happens if they have a disappointing season? You can't go back. Well, we as the Houston Texans were good in 2023. Nobody cares. It's 2024 now, so they'll have to move on. And I expect them to answer the challenge week in and week out.
This is the second time you've mentioned them tired of last year's talk. That also implies to me that they're kind of tired of the hype around this offseason. There's a lot of hype. We are the darlings of the NFL right now. It is just everywhere, whether it's Mina Kimes, whether it's The Athletic, whether it's The Pivot. There is an influx of the spotlight right now on the Houston Texans, and rightfully so, given what they did last year. I think it's a lot of catch up right now in terms of what they lost last year for national media hype, especially given that they had 0 games in national media. So I know they've mentioned rat poison over and over again, and that is something that's been thrown in the locker room. Are you worried at all about the hype getting to this team, or maybe not reaching the expectations they should be reaching?
Nah, I'm not. I think even if they don't, like say hypothetically they don't reach some of the goals they had in mind, I don't think it's because of the hype. Like once again, D'Amico Ryans has instilled in them, and it's not even necessarily on D'Amico. They know like these are professionals. I think you see a little bit more of that in college when you are on social media, but there's veterans in the room who know. Once again, like last year, it really doesn't matter. Like they know they can't walk into every single Sunday and say, "Oh, we just feel like we're better than you." They for them, they genuinely have Super Bowl aspirations. And so to get to Super Bowl, once again, they still know, like, as great of a season as you might think that they have had last year, when they went to the divisional round, they showed it was level. The Ravens showed it was levels between them and the Houston Texans. So it's not like, like they're coming off a Super Bowl and like, they felt like they reached the mountaintop. They hadn't. And you talk about the Ravens. Well, you still have to get past the Ravens. You still have to get past, of course, the reigning Super Bowl champs in the Kansas City Chiefs. Now you have, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, you got to deal with the Jets potentially, which you'll see them later on this year. And it's a tough AFC with a tough schedule, so I'm not worried about the hype getting to them. If they don't live up to the expectations, I think it could be for one reason or another. I don't think it's because they would have gotten a big head and they were feeding into that. Because I think to me that's an effort thing. That's if they don't show up prepared, I don't think that would be the case. But once again, it's about execution, and it's a small margin of error when it comes to the NFL. And so they were able to overcome a lot of that in these one-score games last year, but they'll be involved in those again this year. Will they have that same luck in 2024?
Today the Houston Texans posted their injury report today. I mean, looks a lot better than last year. I'll say that. Only one player did not practice, MJ Stewart. I think the talk of the town, of course, is Will Anderson Jr. Were you out there today at practice? And if so, how did Will look out there?
So actually, I wasn't out at practice today. I just showed up for post game, but it is good to see Will Anderson back. Obviously, he didn't play in any of the preseason games. Didn't really practice for much of it either, as he was nursing back from an injury. But he did speak to us after practice was over, and he said he's playing, this Sunday, and he wouldn't miss it. And so, as long as that guy is ready to go on Sunday, of course, it'd be nice to have some practice time. But I also asked D'Amico Ryans about having the opportunity to coach 2 potential game wreckers and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. And he said that they can wreak havoc on offenses. And that's what I expect from that duo. I think they can be one of the more dynamic pass rushing duos in the league. And so I'm really excited to see them as a tandem on the field together this week.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my hot takes when I was talking about what this defense could do for the Houston Texans. And one of the hot takes for me was, I think, Will Anderson. And I don't even know if it's a hot take, but Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter together could end up being a top 5 edge rush duo in the NFL. That's just a lot of praise given towards Daniel Hunter, who's a very underrated player. And, of course, second year Will Anderson with the offseason of D'Amico Ryans in this system, in this organization. I'm excited to see what they can produce. I'm talking about the defense. We've talked about a little bit about the offense. There's just so much hype between both in this offseason, and we've talked about it to ad nauseum. Who are you most excited about, the offense or the defense?
That's a great question. To me, I think it has to be the offense. We've never seen a Texans team with this much talent. I think across the board, but especially offensively, there's been some really good years. But when we talk about a trio of guys at the wide receiver position who could all be number ones on any team, really across the league for the most part, right? When you have Nico Collins, who had a breakout year, when you have Tank Dell, when healthy, he's one of the more explosive guys across this league, and then you add in a Stephon Diggs, who historically has been one of the top 10 receivers year in and year out. And now you have a quarterback who can deliver them the ball on any spot on the field. It's hard not to be excited about that. It's hard not to be excited about watching that. And so I'm really excited about that. But of course, too, we haven't really mentioned Joe Mixon, who another guy who historically has been really, really good, a guy who's historically been a Pro Bowler. And we haven't seen him much this preseason, but when you talk about their pass catchers, you won't be able to load the box anymore with this Houston Texans team. So now that opens up some more rushing lanes for Joe Mixon, and I'm excited to see how Bobby Slowick and company draw plays up for this entire team. And I think they should be one of the more explosive offenses across the league.
Question: the coin toss, you win it. You putting offense or defense first?
I would go defense. I want the opportunity to, if I've just in general, my philosophy has always kind of been I like having the ball coming out of the half.
There we go.
Because it also helps you kind of strategize as you're entering as you're ending the first half, right? Whether it's how aggressive do you want to be? If you're up on the score, can we push the ball down the field to get one up? No, we get the ball back, and now you can trust your quarterback to make the right decision that he's not going to turn the ball over and give it back to the other team so they can go down and score. So I would probably go deflecting or kicking to start the game, and then that way too. We look at that crowd, and you receive, they'll already be hyped up. But if your defense go out there and get a 3-and-out stop, maybe you can kind of temper that emotions early on. So I would rather kick early on. That's kind of my Madden philosophy too. So that's me if I'm on Madden or college football 25.
I'm the same way. I think I took that from Bill Belichick. His famous, he liked to hamburger opponents, and try to get points right before the end of the half and then double up again at the beginning of the third quarter. I just love doing that so much. It's a lot of fun, especially when it works. If it doesn't work, then
right, when it works, absolutely.
Yeah. Texans Colts, man. Now we're getting into the spicy stuff. What are your keys to the game for the Houston Texans in order to beat this Indianapolis Colts team?
I think the biggest thing, you want to start out fast, and I really want them to establish the run game. We know that CJ Stroud can win a game with his arm, but on the road, control the tempo. Keep Anthony Richardson, who hasn't had a lot of reps, who hasn't had a lot of stars, keep him on the sideline and really just dominate the time of possession, especially since you're in that building. I would definitely want to start this thing fast, but it's a divisional game. Those, even though I think the Texans are a better team, starting out on the road in Indy at Lucas Oil Stadium, it's no easy task. And so I don't expect this to be a blowout. I think it's going to be probably a dogfight. And Anthony Richardson is going to be fired up to get back out there and compete with his guys. The defense for the Colts will be flying around, but I expect the Texans to be up for the challenge. But like I said, I think starting fast is number one, and really running the rock. There'll be plenty of opportunities for CJ Stroud to air it out and play with his shiny new toys, but I'm definitely team pound it out as far as running the ball early and often.
We're getting into the best part and the best question. You know what it is. It's a Wednesday, but we don't care. Give me the predictions. Give me the score prediction for Sunday's game. If you got one, if you're bold enough. Texans Colts score prediction. What you got for me?
I think the Houston Texans start out 1-0. I think it's at least 7 straight seasons. It might be more than that for the Indianapolis Colts. They haven't really won a season opener. Yeah. It's been a while for the Colts, and I think that trend continues this Sunday. I think the Texans go into Indianapolis and beat them once again for the second straight year in Indy, and we only could see that feud between the two teams and two division opponents continue. I expected it to be even a little chippy early on. I think the Colts will try to set the tone early and often, but once again, I think the Texans will be up for the challenge. I will go 28-14 Texans. 28-14 Texans.
28-14. Wow. You told me it was going to be a blowout.
I did say that. I did say that, but it's one of those games that it's closer than it's closer than it feels.
Yeah, I had said this where my hype it up, way back score, and this was on Monday. On the roundtable, we were trash talking with Colts and Texans and Titans and Jags fans. It's a lot of fun, and I said 34-20, but the Texans pull away near the end of the game. I think it's a close game for the most of it. But at the end, I think Texans, who on paper are a better team, in my opinion. And I think they do pull away at the end. Man, 28-14. This is
it's Wednesday.
It's true.
Friday,
anything could change.
A little different. Then I might wake up on Sunday. You know how it is on Sunday morning. You wake up. I don't expect the result of the game to change, but maybe my feelings on the score will.
It depends, man. If I get my Sunday morning barbacoa and it's a little fatty, and instead of meat, then I'm gonna be a little upset. And maybe my score prediction's not as high as I want it to be. Now there's a lot more meat than there is fat. All right, then you know what? Maybe it's more of a blowout. That's just how it goes. It's just a temperature check. All right, man. I appreciate this chance. This was fun. We definitely had a lot of fun here. I know you're a foodie. So I had to throw a little food in there because I mean this temple was built by food, man. I am half Hispanic and I am proud of it. I love it. I love all of food, everything food. I'm a big foodie guy. So
you have to tell me where you get your barbacoa from, man. Hook me up. Let me know.
Ooh, so real quick, barbacoa. Like, you talking tacos or are you just talking by por libra for the pound? Or
I'm talking more so tacos.
Okay. Laredo Taqueria. Bam, right away. Snover Street on Washington, Silver Street. You go to Laredo Taqueria. You get there early. They're closed on Sunday, unfortunately. Are they? Yeah, they're closed on Sunday, unfortunately. But you get there early. You get there around 7. You're going to be waiting in a little bit of a line. It moves. But to me, arguably, best breakfast tacos in Houston right there.
I'm going to hold you to it, man.
For sure. You go there. You do your best Keith Lee impression again, and you told him who sent you.
We'll do it. Hopefully, when I tell him Harley sent me, I expect to get a discount, if not free.
Oh, well then. That's all the time we got for today's show, guys. I appreciate you, Chance, coming on, man. This is the Lead Houston Sports. Chancellor Johnson with us, KPRC Channel 2 local sports reporter. If you got anything, anything you want to tell the folks, any last words, anything you want them to follow you on, let them know right now.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you for having me on once again. This was really fun, and like I said, I really respect and appreciate you definitely did your homework. So I definitely enjoy having have some time to chat today, and I'm really excited for the season. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it could be a historic one. Obviously, we talk about expectations. I expect this team to be, at worst, contending for a conference championship. I'll leave it at that. But I'm excited to be here for the ride, and you can see some of my coverage, on at KPRC2. I anchor on Saturdays. I try to have some fun with it, and then definitely on social media at Chancellor TV on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter on X. So I'm excited for the journey. This should be a fun one.
Well, thank you, Chancellor. Anybody that is still watching, I appreciate it. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Easiest smash of y'all's life. You go down there in that subscribe button, hit it. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So again, super appreciate every single one of y'all that has liked, commented, subscribed. If you don't know what to do, just drop a swarm in the comment section. We know what you're riding with, man. We're big Texans fans. We're big Astros, Rockets guys. Appreciate you, Chance, for coming on, man. This is the Lead Houston Sports. My name is Harley, and y'all have a very blessed day.